So does the campaign for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 in 2022 live up to all the hype, especially going back to the original series? Well, this is going to be my review on just the campaign for Modern Warfare 2. And we're not going to really touch multiplayer in this video because, again, they're kind of two separate experiences. And I think they're just kind of two separate things altogether. Some people might just be interested in the story specifically, more the campaign stuff, while other people obviously like the multiplayer more exclusively. Or maybe you're someone who likes both, and you're wondering if the campaign is a nice little bonus to the multiplayer that you've always enjoyed yourself. So I'm going to talk about the campaign specifically in this video. If you guys do enjoy it, be sure to stick around for more. And if you want to see my entire playthrough of the campaign, it's going to be up on the channel and all that good stuff. So Modern Warfare 2, the campaign 2022, it's about a tiny bit longer, I would say. But roughly about the same thing as Modern Warfare 2019. It's kind of like, some people I've seen beat it in like 5.5 hours. Me, I think it took about like 6 to 7-ish. That said, I did die a few times on a couple missions. And that's kind of the one thing, is that they kind of throw a little bit of a curveball at you with some of the missions where they added a little bit of a different kind of dynamic. For example, there's one mission that is extremely stealthy, which, by the way, I'm really bad at stealth. But what's interesting is that in that mission, they introduced this kind of new mechanic, and they showcase it, I think, like one other time towards the end of the game. And that's a crafting mechanic. So you find like kind of all these different resources like metal and kind of like some kind of tape and different things like that, and just different kind of resources, wax, and you kind of craft and make these makeshift kind of items, craftable items, right? Which I guess they took a little bit of inspiration from games like, A Plague Tale or The Last of Us, or different games like that where you craft different kinds of items, and I guess they wanted to implement that. It kind of seemed like it was thrown in kind of like that, right? Like they loved that mechanic in other games, and they just kind of wanted to throw it in Call of Duty. That's kind of how it felt. It kind of felt like, it wasn't really necessary, and I don't feel like it really added anything to the gameplay. At first, it was like the idea seemed cool, but, as I progressed through the mission that first introduced it, I found myself not really caring about it all too much. Now, that said, the entire experience as a whole is pretty solid. I mean, Call of Duty, whether you love or hate the multiplayer, most people would unanimously agree that the campaign is usually pretty good. It's pretty solid. It's pretty up there. And it's usually an epic experience. If you enjoyed Modern Warfare 2019's campaign, I'm pretty sure you're going to enjoy this one too. That said, for some reason, I still can't put my finger on it. I've been trying to think about it. There's something in the campaign that just felt like it was missing. I don't know. It felt like it lacked some kind of substance that I just felt throughout my whole playthrough. I felt like something feels off, and I can't tell what it is. And I still can't put my finger on it, but something almost felt like it was maybe like a little bit more bland, if that makes any sense whatsoever. It's really hard to explain. Maybe you guys had a similar experience if you played through it, or if you do play through it. Maybe it's just me. If you have had a similar experience, let me know in the comments so I can know that I'm not the only one. That said, like I said, it's an epic experience. It's that cinematic kind of war campaign that we've come to love with Call of Duty games. The graphics are incredible in the campaign. They're just over the top, very photorealistic, especially the cinematics. When the cinematics kick in, it really feels like a movie, like you're watching a movie. It's just phenomenal. Of course, some classic, faces have returned. We've seen it in the trailers. Obviously, General Shepard. We have, obviously Captain Price and Ghost and Soap and, among a bunch of others that, we've come to love. And some new faces as well, such as Alejandro, if I'm pronouncing his name right. If I'm not, I'm sorry. And all of his squad, right? So their squad are like the Mexican Special Forces, if you will. And so that's kind of a new cool element that was introduced, and you kind of see a little bit of their world in the game as well. Now, just there's a lot of characters in the game, so I think they did a pretty solid job, all things considering, to juggle all these characters. Like I said, old and new. It felt sometimes like it was almost like there's so many that you felt maybe a tad bit overwhelmed, but I think they managed it pretty well. And what I liked about it is there's certain missions that really felt like it just felt like I don't know how to explain it. Not like a party, but like just kind of like you got this feeling of yeah, you know, we're all grouping up together. We're about to go take on this mission and it's going to be epic. I have no other way to explain it. That sounds probably super cringy the way I said it, but bear with me. I'm doing my best. So graphically phenomenal. So the story, there's something that like I said, I just can't put my finger on it, but it felt like something was missing. Like like, I don't know, there was like almost like a vibe missing that I just can't put my finger on. Like I said, it was a very epic experience. It was a ton of fun, but at the same time, it felt like there was some kind of substance, some kind of element missing that I just can't figure out what it was. But again, it just, there's something it almost felt like there was like a hollowness that should have been there that wasn't there, if that makes any sense. Again, it's very vague, I know, but I just can't put my finger on what it is. That said, I still really enjoyed my time with it. There was a couple missions, like I said, that one mission where they introduced crafting that I thought was a little bit annoying, the way it was kind of, you know, I guess laid out. Especially with the checkpoints, there was a point where I was having a lot of difficulty getting by this one specific portion. I don't want to spoil it anything for anyone, but it just felt like that mission was not well executed. The idea was great. I think the idea was great. I just don't think it was well executed. And honestly, I probably am confident to say that that's my most hated Call of Duty mission of all time. I played every single Call of Duty campaign that's ever existed, and I think that mission is probably the one I hate the most out of like any COD. That said, the campaign as a whole was a great experience, and like I said, it's just breathtaking visuals, epic moments, very cinematic, very moments that just make you go, you feel like, you know, like you're just like, yeah, you know, that kind of like, you just feel awesome, you know, kind of completing these missions and you know, just being on the edge of your seat. So again, if you played Modern Warfare 2019, one of the things that would have stood out for you is the audio. The audio design is insane, and I think they've taken it even further, where it's just so much more crisp and it just packs a punch, man. Like every weapon that you fire, it feels like you're firing actual bullets out of this thing, because the audio is just so well done, especially if you have a good surround system, or you know, if you have, you know, a good pair of headphones or whatever. You really feel it, and it just makes that immersion so much better. It's just absolutely epic. And so I think that by itself is just a massive thing. I think the audio is probably a perfect 10 out of 10 from where I'm standing anyways. So the audio is fantastic. Now, in terms of the, you know, there's 17 missions. Okay, so in terms of how the story is laid out, there's 17 missions, and there's missions that make you feel like it's, you know, kind of like a reimagined version, or things that will make you be like, oh yeah, I remember this sort of element from, you know, the old school kind of CODs, the original Modern Warfare trilogy. And there's certain things you're going to be like, yeah, this is this mission, or this is like a reimagining of that mission. Now, it's not like a one for one, obviously. Like, these are brand new missions. They're not a remake of old missions. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is they capture the same element and the same vibe and the same style as certain, you know, beloved missions from past Modern Warfare games, but they, you know, put that kind of element and vibe in a different setting, if that makes any sense, in a different kind of mission, right? So they did pretty good with that. You know, you'll have, you know, some pretty, I mean, if you played the original trilogy, that is, you'll have some moments where you're like, okay, yeah, I remember this is this mission, that mission. So, but again, it's a new mission. Does that make sense? I don't know how else to explain it without spoiling it for you guys, so I'll leave it at that. And then finally, I'll say this, without spoiling anything, the way they ended this campaign perfectly sets up what's about to come next. So obviously, whatever comes next is going to be a Modern Warfare 3, and they perfectly set it up. And I also say that I think this ending will get everyone hyped, but I think it will especially resonate with veterans, so people who have played the original trilogy. If you played the original trilogy, there's going to be certain elements that if you pay attention, you're going to be like, no way, that's crazy. And I'll leave it at that because I don't want to spoil it. Now, I will say that if you're playing the game, don't skip the credits because there are post-credit scenes. So make sure you don't skip the credits and you don't just back out to the main lobby. I mean, you can skip the credits. You can hold X or whatever to skip the credits. I just mean don't back out to the main lobby. If you skip the credits, it'll just go to the cutscene. So the way they ended it, like I said, it sets up perfectly for what's coming next. And I really hope what is coming next, what they're teasing, that they execute it well. Because like I said, with this campaign, although it felt epic, it was a lot of fun. You know, it had those elements that typically make a Call of Duty campaign a lot of fun, great, epic, you know, just makes you feel like, wow. It had all those elements. It left me feeling like there was something missing. It left me feeling like there was like gaping hole somewhere. And even though I can't pinpoint what it is, there was something missing from it. And maybe it's just substance in some sort of way or fashion. But that feeling that, you know, I couldn't really, you know, again, I haven't really felt with, you know, the past Modern Warfare in 2019 is a feeling that kind of left me scratching my head and thinking maybe they just didn't go about it the right way. Like I said, there's elements that I have gripes with. There's elements that I think were, you know, kind of broke the immersion a little bit. Like, you know, again, that mission where you just have to craft and craft and craft and craft. It's so heavy where I feel like it kind of takes you out of it a little bit. But all in all, I think it was a pretty solid experience. I think it's a really solid campaign. And so I'll give it a good 9 out of 10. So 9 out of 10 is what I'm going to give it. That's just the Modern Warfare 2 campaign. Again, just keep in mind, this is not Spec Ops. This is not the multiplayer. This is only the story, the campaign mode specifically. So let me know though in the comments below, have you played it? If so, what do you guys think about it? Did you have that same feeling like something was missing? If so, what do you think it was? Also, what do you think overall with, you know, how it was all kind of set up? Were you satisfied with it, or what are your overall thoughts? Let me know in the comments. And for everything else gaming, stick around here for more. We do playthroughs, talk about the games, play the games here on the channel, gaming news, gameplays, all that good stuff. So I'll see you guys soon. Until then, my friends, game on. Thanks for watching.